my name is Lexi and welcome back to my channel. So today I will be doing my 5-star predictions and I've got 10 books to share with you today. So the ironic thing about this is that I'm no longer rating my books, so... However, I have wanted to do this exact video for months. So my disclaimer is, while I am no longer rating books, I will be rating these books. I will do a wrap up. So this will be the last time that I publicly rate my books, probably. I have 10 books to share with you today. I've got 4 middle grade, 2 young adult, and 4 adult. Let's go ahead and start with middle grade. The first book I want to talk to you about today is Hurricane Child, and this is by Cheryl Callender. This book sounds right up my alley. So this book is about a girl who unfortunately is bullied a lot in school. However, one day there is a new girl who comes to her school and she develops a little bit of a crush on this girl. And it seems to have all of the themes that I'm interested in. I've heard that this has magical realism in it. I love the dynamic of friendship, and I love that we have an LGBT female-female relationship that develops in middle grade, because I feel like that's very, very rare. And I also feel like that's kind of weird that that never occurs in middle grade, because you absolutely get crushes when you are in 6th and 7th grade. So I'm excited to see where this goes, but it has all of my favorite themes, especially magical realism. Like, that is my favorite thing to read about and to read that books kind of have included in them. So I really think that this is going to be a 5-star, and I'm probably going to start this first in this next month. The next book that I think is going to be a 5-star is A Snicker of Magic, and this is by Natalie Lloyd. Now, there are a lot of reasons why I think that this is going to be a 5-star, but again, I think it's that little bit of magical realism and the touches of whimsy incorporated in everyday life that I really think I'm going to like. So this book is about a girl who collects words, which is such a cool concept. I love it when concepts are unique and creative in books. I can't. So this is about a girl named Felicity, and Felicity collects words, and she travels all around the country with her younger sibling and her mother in her mother's van called the Pickled Jalapeno, which... what a name. One day they roll into a town in which there used to be lots of magic. In this town, people used to be able to dance thunderstorms into existence and bake secrets into pies. But then one day, all of the magic vanished. And so I believe this is sort of like Felicity's way of trying to bring back the magic, probably through the power of her words. And it just sounds so charming and so unique. I love it when we have elements of magic, but they're done in a very unique way. That just really resonates with me, both as a reader and as a writer, and I am so excited to read this. The next book that I want to talk about is The Extremely Inconvenient Adventures of Bronte, Mettlestone, and this is by Jaclyn Moriarty. I love the synopsis of this with all of my heart. So this is about a girl whose parents were killed off by pirates. In her parents' will, they say that she specifically has to go on this adventure and deliver all of these different items to 10 of her different aunts. And every single aunt lives in a different place, in a different magical period, or a different magical kingdom. Bronte herself is not very interested in adventure, and she doesn't really want to do this, but because it says in their will that she needs to do this, she goes ahead and does it. And it just sounds really awesome. It sounds like we're getting a little bit of a twist on like the hero and journey story, because she does not want to do this, whereas most hero and journey stories definitely do want to go on the journey and the mission for the glory and for the adventure, and she really does not. I think we're going to get a lot of humor in here, and I think we're going to get a lot of elements that I absolutely love, like dragons and fairies and mermaids. All of that stuff is stuff that I really gravitate towards, especially in middle grade. I love fantastical and whimsical things. I really think that I'm going to love this book. The final middle grade that I want to talk about today is The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making, and this is by Catheryn M. Valente. I've heard that the writing specifically is what really steals the reader's heart, and I am such a sucker for beautiful, flowery, gorgeous prose. So this specifically is about a girl named September, and September feels like she's very ordinary in life, and she sort of, I guess, falls away into fairyland. It's like a very typical trope, and those are like the very specific types of things that I love. I love it when children go into other worlds and then they have to save the world. So it's pretty typical from that standpoint, but I've heard that Catheryn M. Valente has a couple really unique twists and a lot of very unique characters in this world that really make it stand out. I'm really excited to kind of see how I feel about this book, and hopefully it's going to be a 5-star. 5-star. Okay, on to the 2 young adult books. The first one that I want to talk about is Neverworld Wake, and this is by Marisha Pessl. So I have heard excellent things about this book, but specifically the reason I think this is going to be a 5-star is because I read another book from Marisha Pessl and was completely floored. So the book that I read was Special Topics in Calamity Physics, and that's actually an adult book. And I could tell from the writing style that she was an amazing writer, but I wasn't completely sold on the book until her plot twist at the end, because I did not see it coming and I thought it was brilliant and I loved it so much. And I remember thinking once I read that book, which was also a 5-star, that I wanted to read way more from Marisha Pessl. So this is about a girl named Beatrice and her 5 friends. So this all takes place in one night. After graduation and after grieving the loss of her boyfriend for about a year, Beatrice and her friends go to this seaside estate where they had spent so many nights sharing secrets and talking about life. And during this night, there is a storm, and a storm brings in a stranger that knocks on the door. The stranger announces that time has actually snagged. It's stuck. And the only way it will continue to go is if Beatrice and her friends make an impossible decision. That's all I know. I don't know what the question is. I don't know what the impossible decision is. I know that they all have to kind of agree on something for time to continue to go, or they remain stuck. And I've heard that this is a little bit of a thriller. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It just sounds amazing. It sounds so good. And again, I really want to read this like right now. The last young adult that I have to share today is The Astonishing Color of After, and this is by Emily X.R. Pan. I have heard so many wonderful things about this book. So this book is about a girl named Lee, and this is definitely a more serious, hard-hitting book. This is about the fact that Lee is convinced that her mother has become a bird. She's turned into a bird after she committed suicide and killed herself. And so Lee decides to go to Taiwan to visit her grandparents and search for her mother in the form of a bird. It sounds like something I'm going to really enjoy, and it also sounds like something that is going to be very hard to get through. Specific reasons why I think I'm going to love this though, again, it is a magical realism book. So it goes back and forth between reality and magic. It has touches of whimsy in it, I've heard. And to me, this sounds a lot like 2 books that I love. And those 2 books are Summer of Salt and The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. Both of those books got 5 out of 5 stars for me. So the fact that this book incorporates the same themes and the same styles, I really feel like I'm going to love. I think this is going to be a 5-star. I really can't see this being less than a 5-star. I'm excited. Okay, so now on to the adult reads that I think are going to be 5-star. The first one I want to talk about is The Shadow of the Wind, and this is by Carlos Ruiz Zafon. I think that this is going to be a 5-star for me because A, I've heard incredible things about this book. I've heard that this is like impeccable writing. I've heard that this is kind of flawless storytelling and craft and plot, but also I happen to love books that are about people who love books. Just like I also love books about people who want to be a writer or like struggling writers as like a trope, I also happen to love books that are all about books and people who love books. How many times am I going to say the word books? Books. So this is about a little boy who loses his mother. He basically grows up with his father, who is a single father, and his father runs a secondhand bookstore. And he decides to take his son in the wee hours of the morning into this secret wing of his bookstore. And I think to get in, you have to like go through a secret doorway. In this room is a graveyard for old books that are no longer in print. This little boy decides to pick one out, and it's called Shadow of the Wind. There is a person who is out trying to destroy all of the copies of this book, Shadow of the Wind. And so it's a little bit of a thriller and a little bit of a mystery. As this boy grows up, he tries to figure out who is trying to destroy this. He's trying to protect his own copy. He's trying to find other copies. And it's just this really cool concept where there is a thriller mystery involving finding out questions about this book and why somebody is trying to destroy all of the copies of this book. It also takes place in, I think, Barcelona. And I love love books that take place in other countries. I love books that specifically take place in like European countries like France and Italy and of course Barcelona like Spain. I have been wanting to read this for years, but my expectations for this are so high that I've always been kind of afraid to read it. So this is good. This will be like a good push that I need to finally crack open this book and see if it really is a 5-star. The next book that I think is going to be a 5-star is Call Me By Your Name. And this is by Andre Aciman. And I'm probably saying the name wrong. I'm really sorry. So this again is one of those books that takes place in a European country, which is kind of one of the things that I love. And I was just talking about that. So this book takes place in a mansion on the cliffside of the Italian Riviera, which already like I want to give it a 5-star just for the location alone. And a romance kind of blooms between the boy who lives in the mansion and a guest of the summer. And it is an LGBT theme book. It is a male-male relationship. I've heard that this is powerful, beautiful, sad, and tragic. It has lots of themes that I love. I happen to really gravitate towards stories that have LGBT themes in them. I love romances in literature. And I have this weird thing where I like reading about absurdly rich people. I don't know why. Probably because I grew up with Gossip Girl and I just feel like a lot of the times those dynamics can be real messy, and I think that the politics just within the wealthy class can be so outlandish and interesting that I want to read all about it. So it has so many things in here that I think I'm just gonna really like. And I know I've said this for every single book, but I think I'm gonna start with this one because I know this is gonna be a 5-star. Like it has to be, right? I'm really excited. I'll be honest though, like if it's not, I'll tell you. The next book that I think is gonna be a 5-star is The Gracekeepers by Kristy Logan. This is definitely one of the most beautiful books I own, if not the most beautiful book. So this again has themes of LGBT+. This is a female-female relationship, and this kind of takes place in a dystopian world with touches of whimsy and magical realism. Already I love, right? All of my themes. LGBTQ+, magical realism, I'm just on board. So this is about 2 different women and it follows the lives of both of them. So one of them is a circus performer and she dances with her bear, which is seen on the cover here, and she travels in a circus. The other storyline that we follow is a girl who actually helps people pass over when they die, and she lives on the land, but she is very isolated. They both end up meeting. I also believe that somehow mermaids are involved, and I don't really know how, but basically the whole thing is about a circus and about 2 women who I think fall in love with each other, and definitely themes of mermaids. I love how original it sounds to me. I don't know any book that has a traveling circus on water. Like that sounds really, really cool. So I can't wait to delve into this book. I have high expectations for this. And finally, my very last prediction is going to be If We Were Liars, and this is by M.L. Rio. I've actually seen a lot of people who I trust review this book and say that it's one of the best books they've ever read. This book is about a group of friends, and they are all actors who play in different Shakespeare roles. They all love Shakespeare, they all read Shakespeare, and they all actively act out the roles that they're playing, but in real life. I've heard that this has like a very academic sense to it, a very academic feel to it. I've heard that this is really, really dark and twisted. It's definitely a mystery and a thriller. And I've heard that it has serious Donna Tartt vibes from The Secret History. I can't wait. So you guys, that is it for all of my 5-star predictions. I will be trying to tackle these in the next couple of months. Have you read any of these books? What do you think? Do you have any 5-star predictions that you think that I would like? Please leave those down in the comments as well. Until next time, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. Please keep your head in the clouds and your heart in a book, and I will talk to you later. Bye!